Hello everyone, my name is Ryan,
My name is Nick.
And I'm Drea.
and this is the Investigating Diffusion Lab for LB273. So in this experiment, our question was, how does viscosity affect the motion of polystyrene beads in a solution? Our goal was to investigate the motion by analyzing the motion in solutions of increasing viscosity. Our hypothesis was that the velocity of the beads over time and the distance that they travel any particular time period will be significantly decreased when viscosity increases. We used three solutions: DI water, cornstarch, and soapy water. The results were that the average velocity of a bead was highest in DI water and the lowest in soapy water, with cornstarch being in the middle. Based on this collected data, we reject the initial hypothesis.
In this experiment, we are trying to use a microscope to analyze the motion of 2-micron polystyrene beads in 3 different solutions. Those solutions are DI water, soapy water, and cornstarch. They all have different viscosities. Here we are trying to connect the microscope to the laptop in order to record what is happening for each solution. With the tracker software, we are analyzing 2 beads per solution so that we can find position versus time and velocity versus time graphs.
So here we have our position versus time graphs that we got from Tracker. And as you can see, they're labeled by solution for the water, or the DI water, the soapy water, and the cornstarch. The top graph, so the top row of the 2, is for mass A, the first bead that we tracked, and the bottom graph for all 3 of the solutions is the second bead that we tracked. And here's the velocity versus time graphs, and they're laid out the same way. So the top graphs again is the first bead that we tracked, and the bottom row of graphs is the second.
So for the analysis, we calculated the average velocity of a bead in each solution using the average velocities of both beads that we tracked. So the average velocity of a bead in DI water from both of our trials was 1.01 micrometers per second. That in soapy water was 0.04 micrometers per second, and that in cornstarch was 0.3935 micrometers per second. So if we rank these velocities from increasing to decreasing, DI water had the beads with the highest average velocity, cornstarch had the medium velocity, and soapy water had the lowest average velocity. Now this is a bit counterintuitive, and this could be to a multitude of reasons, which we'll talk about a little bit.
So how does this relate to things other than simple position and velocity over time? Now we could talk about many things here. We could talk about momentum, we could talk about collisions, which we'll talk about collisions a little bit in a minute, but we decided to focus mostly on diffusion. So the definition for diffusion for Merriam-Webster is the process whereby particles of liquids, gases, or solids intermingle as the result of their spontaneous movement caused by thermal agitation, and in dissolved substances move from a region of higher to one of lower concentration. Now, relating this to how we talked about diffusion in class, and particularly relating to the computer simulation we did and this experiment, the particles in a container, whether that container is the veins in your body or whether that container is a vial containing a soapy water solution, the particles in the container have a random rapid motion, and they do move from a higher to a lower concentration, but they also move in a straight line until they're acted upon by another force. Particularly in this case, until they collide with something, whether that's the wall of the container or another particle. And this collision with whatever it's colliding with will change the direction and the momentum and velocity of the particle.
So in this investigation and in the glow script simulation, we investigated the diffusion of particles. As Drea said, diffusion is rapid, random, straight line motion. So in both of these, the glow script simulation and this experiment, we did observe that. However, the difference is that there were many more collisions in the simulation and there were very few in this one. In the simulation, the large particles represented proteins and the small particles represented water. This is analogous to the beads in our experiment and the given solution respectively.
So in conclusion, just to recap, our question was about viscosity affecting the motion of polystyrene beads, in particular in the solutions. And our answer to that question was that the beads did not move slowest through the most viscous solution, but they did move fastest through the least viscous solution.
And this is our references. Thank you.